Guys, Ash here coming at you today in Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video, guys. How you doing? How you feeling? How you living? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy to have you guys here. Today we're going to talk about some rare champions. Now I have a follow-up video to this one going live in about 10 days or so, talking about the best rare champions for the end game. So subscribe, turn on your bell notifications, all that good stuff if you don't want to miss that one. But today's video is going to be for, I don't know, the other 95% of players out there. These are players working on progression, working on your dungeons, working on your faction wars, working on improving your demon lord and your Hydra clan boss teams. These are going to be rare champions that you might pull or farm. A lot of them are totally free. What better is there than in Raid Shadow Legends than totally free? It's not something that we hear often, is it?
It will be the last time.
So a lot of these champions you can just go ahead and pick up when and if it makes sense for your account. And also the last kind of caveat here, guys, is these champions, you don't need to max them all out to get full utility out of them. I think a lot of players forget that. Taking some of these champions just to 5 stars makes perfect sense. They can serve a lot of utility. So let's just jump into it here, guys. I want to start with a brand new rare champion. Now there's only one rare. Boy, were they plentiful with the rares that they gave us here.
I'm really happy today.
In the Sylvan Watchers, a brand new faction to the game at the time of this recording, it is Pathfinder Kate. So Pathfinder Kate, first of all, right now, there is no faction war, and it's probably going to be a while. I'm thinking like 6 months based on the Shadowkin timeline before they add in that new faction crypt for us. But I mean, rare champions are inherently easier to upgrade in terms of less expensive. Books are easier to find than epic and legendary champions. And Pathfinder Kate is not that bad, specifically in Reflex set. On her A1, she has a block buffs. Not too bad, 35% chance at landing, but really nothing to write home about. But on the A2 here, on a 3-turn cooldown, we're attacking all enemies. 50% of increasing the cooldown of a random skill on each target by 2 turns. This ability is not bad, right? We can get some damage. We can put her in a stun set to help CC for the faction wars. We can also just control inherently by the ability itself, putting skills on cooldown. I mentioned Reflex because if you put her Reflex gear, we have a 40% chance of reducing the cooldown of one random skill by 1 turn. Now, there's only one active skill she has in her kit, so her and Reflex is actually going to be a very, very good combo for faction wars. She also plays a Perk Veil on this champion for 1 turn whenever she kills an enemy. So again, not the best champion in the world. She is a little squishy there. Look at her HP, barely 1200, but she hits decently hard for a rare champion. And again, she has some nice utility when synergized into that Reflex set. Number 2 is going to be a campaign farmable champion, guys. Been watching the channel for any amount of time. You know how much I am a fan of Diabolist, man. People sleep on Diabolist. You can farm her on stage 12 of campaign, okay? Check out her kit. First of all, she's super fast. She's a better control champion than a lot of even legendaries in the game, guys, and she's free for everybody. On the A1, we have sleep, okay, whatever. On the A2, we have the big version of decreased speed on a 3-turn cooldown with an AoE attack, so she can put out a little bit of damage. You can put her again in a stun set if you want to get more utility out of this ability, and then positive charge. It's a mini little Lysandra Energize ability here. Fills the turn meter of all allies by 15% while decreasing the turn meter of all enemies by 15%. This is a really, really good kit here, guys. We get control on the A3, we get increased speed, and we get a decent amount of damage and more control again if you put her in a stun set, and she's super, super fast. Did we mention that? Yes, we did. Let's move on to the next one, guys. Now, I want to go ahead and show you probably the champion that I passed on the longest, meaning that a champion that I should have maxed out way earlier. I use this dude. He will be on the top 10 rares for the end game. Gnarlhorn, bro. This guy's just straight up one of the best provokers out there, even including like epic champions and a lot of legendary champions in the game. This guy's a boss. He attacks one enemy, whatever. It can be strong, critical, or weak hit.
What exactly are you looking up?
Cannot be strong, critical, or weak hit. My bad. That's kind of weird. On the A2, places a provoke on all enemies for 1 turn. Places a increased defense weak version on this champion for 2 turns. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. Now, for those of you who are new players in the game, when you are placing a provoke on all enemies, an AoE provoke on a 3-turn cooldown on all enemies, placing it is a money ability. Not that many champions can do that inside the entire game. And this is a rare champion here, guys. We don't have to worry about weak hits, right? He's great in secret rooms. He's great against the Magma Dragon as your provoker. Heck, you can even use him against the Head of Decay. So a really, really good control champion. Check out this A3. We've got an unkillable buff on this champion for 2 turns out of every 3 turns. Now, this is definitely a rare that you're going to want to book up, right? Book him, you'll get the extra 2 cooldowns, you'll get the cooldown over here. This is how they ought to make book champions in this game, man. 1 book over here, 2 books over there, it all goes right to cooldown. Gnarlhorn is an insanely good rare champion. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. All right, guys, let me go to a little champion you guys might have heard of her, Heiress. Heiress is farmable from stage 6 in the campaign, so another free champion. The cool thing about Heiress is she's one of the best clan boss champions, even used in the end game of clan boss, especially unkillable teams. This A2 ability is so freaking good, right? Removes a random debuff from all allies on a 3-turn cooldown that has a 100% chance win both to placing increased speed for 2 turns. So think about it this way. She's cleansing those stuns of the clan boss, and she's your increased speed champion. What's more is she can also attack one enemy.
Well, it doesn't get much better than that.
Well, okay, passive, my bad. Avenger counterattacks the attacker when an ally is attacked. That makes her great for a toxic set. You can get a ton of damage out of an Heiress in a toxic set because she's counterattacking every single time an ally is attacked with that A1 ability, with the War Master as well. I mean, you're really stacking up an incredible amount of damage from this rare champion. When Demitha was added to the game, I mean, it's crucial. She's crucial for a 2-1 ratio on clan boss. So just incredibly good champion, campaign farmable, a champion that no one really used for a long time, and now she's everywhere. All right, let's go to Sacred Order here and talk about another kind of new champion. It's Castigator. Now listen, they haven't added that many good rares to this game in the last few years. There's like Frozen Banshee, maybe Ashwalker, Abyssal, a few others, but Castigator's really, really solid, right? On his A1, he has a pretty solid percentage, 40% on a provoke on the A1. He's an HP-based champion, so he's not super squishy either, right? But this Holy Equity is really the crown jewel of his kit. As a matter of fact, he and Apothecary are definitely the best healers out of every rare champion in the game because of this Holy Equity ability. It's really good. Listen up. Heals the ally lowest HP by 20% of this champion's max HP, and then equalize the HP levels of all allies, and then grants this champion an extra turn. Ergo, really defaulting this down to a 3-turn cooldown when it's booked out. This is a really, really nasty heal, guys. For a rare champion, I mean, I don't know. It's better than Apothecary's heal. You know, it's hard to compare a 2-turn single target that can be critical versus an AoE that's really, really super strong. The best thing is the equalization. It comes after the heal of the lowest HP by 20%. Incredibly strong heal. We also have receives 50% less damage from enemies under the provoke, which he's putting on his A1. So Castigator is a really, really good, semi-good control champion, I should say, with the provoke on the A1, but a really underrated and amazing healer. I want to talk about a champion that we barely ever talked about here on the channel, guys. By the way, sorry, my voice is kind of shot. I'm a little sick. I'm a little under the weather, but I actually feel fine, but my voice is like struggling. Ironclad. Dude, you can have so much fun with Ironclad. Now, this is one of those champions, I just want to kind of, point it out here. This is one of those rare champions that he's not going to scale very well into the end game, but if you're looking for maybe your early game, mid game, you just don't have a great arena nuker, or maybe you have a great healer that you want to pair with Ironclad, an Apothecary, for example. An Apothecary and Ironclad in the arena can deal an insane amount of damage, and it's because this dude's Blood Burst ability, it's just a passive ability, okay? When healed, will attack all enemies, inflicting damage proportional to any surplus heal. Damage inflicted is equal to 50% of the surplus heal. So if you can get a critical heal off of Apothecary on this A2, for example, this dude is just, boom, automatically going with his passive ability can be really, really fun nuker inside the arena. He has a random debuff from all allies as well with an increased attack, so he's bringing a little bit of utility off of that A2 ability. Heal reduction, not much on the A1, but Ironclad could be a super fun and kind of a surprise factor. And, you know, sometimes in this game, it's just fun not always doing the same damn thing every single day, right? Every single time. Sometimes it's fun to mess around with champions like that. Try something a little bit new, right? Next up, guys, is going to be Master Butcher. Master Butcher is a really, really cool champion. He has a provoke on the A1, and then he has a provoke on the A2, which makes him really, really good for the Magma Dragon if you're looking for a provoker, or again, Head of Decay in easier difficulties on the Hydra clan boss. Obviously, he's not going to scale with 947 on the defense, not going to scale very well in the end game of Hydra, but can be again, a good Head of Decay provoker for you guys. But what's more is, great option for Bommel. Basically, any boss where your team's taking a lot of damage and you don't have, say, Vogoth, when attacked, heals all allies equal to the amount of damage taken. Does not work against bosses, but it will work against those bombs that Bommel has, right? Ooh, kicking my trash can over. Trying to do the bomb dance over here. I don't even know what the bomb dance is.
Baby, let me see it.
Heat Exchange is a really, really cool passive. Again, if you don't have Vogoth, he's a great option for you guys. He also has revives a random ally with full HP when he's killed, which can be handy, you know? If you have two champions dead from a strong AoE attack or from, say, a bomb from Bommel, well, Master Butcher's got you covered. He's going to pick up one of them as he goes down. So again, this is a champion that is not an S-tier rare champion out there in the game, but he definitely has that utility that not a lot of people talk about, and he should be on your radar, especially if you need that skill set. All right, let's stay here, guys. I'm going to go with Painsmith. Painsmith is a very hard-hitting block revive, and he's very, very niche for you guys. But he has Utter Destruction. This is a hard-hitting ability. This A2, you should know about it. Attacks one enemies. Enemies killed by this skill cannot be revived, place block debuffs if you kill an enemy. Now listen, he's kind of like a flex spot, right? You can have, if you go against tankier arena teams, that your nuker, say you're using, I don't know, like an Alhain or something as your arena nuker in the early game. You might not be able to go against those tankier, like Syl the Drake type teams, right? You might need to kill, you know, the nuker and then not be able to, or make them block revive, right, on that nuker so they can't kill you later. Or you can kill, you know, the reviver, but then again, who cares? If there's two revivers, you might want to take one down, right? So it depends on the team that you're facing, but this Utter Destruction can be really fun to mess around with. Truth be told, guys, there's not that many hard-hitting abilities. I think there's a 5.9 multiplier. Not many hard-hitting abilities out of rare champions with block revivals. This is one of the only ones. So you should at least, again, flag that in your mind if you're looking for a good block revive option out there. All right, next up is going to be, for my money, like far and away, not even close, the best Shadowkin rare in the game. And the reason I'm mentioning Odachi,
Come on, let it go.
my man here can really help you if you're struggling to finish up faction wars on the Shadowkin faction or just make progress in general. He's a defense-based champion, so he's easy to keep alive. He has almost 1200 defense, which is not bad for a rare champion. Has a provoke 35% clip when booked on his A1. On his A2, we're attacking all enemies, then placing a shield on himself equal to 20% of his max HP. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. Great sword ability. It deals decent damage for a defensive-based champion, but you get that nice shield as well. And then the Keeper ability. This is on a 3-turn cooldown, guys. We have increased defense and block debuffs. This is a really, really solid ability. Even though it's the weak version of increased defense, we're still better than no version, right? And if you don't have a champion like Hatatsu, an epic champion, well, maybe you don't have that buff at all on your team for faction wars. Odachi can really be a solid champion to help keep your team alive while putting out a decent amount of damage, and that block debuffs really, really crucial, even for 1 turn on a 3-turn cooldown. Again, he is the best of the Shadowkin rares, so if you're, again, struggling in Shadowkin faction wars, I would definitely not hesitate to invest in him. Guys, one more rare champion, and I'm going to kick it old school for this last champion. Valerie is another campaign farmable champion. I want to say it's stage 1. I want to say she's the first stage, but you guys can check in the campaign. Valerie's so freaking good, man. She's such a good champion. She's a shield on the protect ability, shield for 2 turns. The value of shield depends on this champion's level, heals all allies according to the number of buffs they are currently under. So we have a shield based on her level, so, 50 or 60, it's going to be a decent shield. Granted, it is on a 5-turn cooldown. You can book it up to get a little bit of a girthier shield as well, but we get a heal on top of that. But the best part of her kit, in my opinion, is actually the A2 ability, the Energizing Presence ability. It increases the duration of all buffs on all allies by 1 turn, decreases the duration of all debuffs on all allies by 1 turn, then gives you increased attack, the weak version, for 2 turns. Now, if you don't have increased attack, great, you got it. But really, the increased duration and decreased duration of buffs and debuffs respectively, that is such a great ability. There's not that many champions that have an ability like that inside the entire game, and this one is free to everybody. This will take your best buffs on all your champions and it will extend them by 1 turn, right? I mean, every buff on all your champions, we're getting a free extension. That is massive. It's massive. And again, new players, you should flag this. Even if you're not going after Valerie, keep an eye out for champions that have abilities like this. Godseeker and Yuri is another one. These are really, really good abilities, and they can really bolster up, especially in longer battles like Hydra Clan Boss. They can ensure that that increased defense that only lasts 2 turns on a 3-turn cooldown coming from a different champion, or that ally protect, or that block debuffs, or whatever, strengthen, right? It can basically make them so it's almost always up on all your champions, especially if you speed tune and time it correctly. All right, guys, there it is. Those are 10 rare champions that I would not use as food. Who did I forget on the list? Who do you disagree with on the list? Thanks for letting me know in the comments below. Hope you guys are doing well. Thank you for watching all the way till the end. And as always, take care, guys.